Welcome to EVTN News, everyone. Today I have a number of news items, but they should be pretty short. The first news item I have for you today is the German Synodal Way. So we talk about them from time to time, and it's always good to see what's going on there. And I kind of wish that they would just get on with what they're doing, but they're basically doing everything they want. I mean, they're giving blessings to LMNOP, and they're saying, oh, well, this is so disappointing that the Vatican doesn't like what we're doing. But they're still going ahead and doing it anyway. And the Vatican doesn't... The Vatican, I think, issued a statement that said, like, oh, you really shouldn't do that. Okay. All right. Bishop Georg Batzing suggested in a May 22nd interview that a letter he received in March from Cardinal Arthur Roche, prefect of the Dicastery for Divine Worship, did not represent a definitive Vatican rejection of homilies by laymen and laywomen in German dioceses. So basically, laymen and women. So any woman and any layman that gives a homily. He said that the letter reiterated what Roche had told the German bishops during their ad limina visit to the Vatican last November, so that the bishops were already aware of this state of affairs. Batzing said that the resolution approved at the Synodal Way's final session in March encouraged Germany's bishops to ask Rome for an indult, or special dispensation from canon law, which says that homilies at Mass may only be given by priest or deacon. Batzing said this means that universal church law does not have to be changed, but the special situation in our country is taken into account, and the prefect writes just at the end of the letter that we must seek further discussion on the matter. Batzing said that in his diocese of Limburg, theologically qualified and pastorally competent women and men had preached at masses for a long time. So he's already allowing them to, contradict canon law. So the bad guys don't care about canon law. And, that's just how it works. Like, they can change canon law to say whatever it wants, but it doesn't matter because the bad guys are going to continue just to do what they do. So there you go. You're going to have women preaching in a mass. Would you stay if a woman preached at your mass? In Chicago, they allow lay people to give the sermon. So it doesn't matter. They don't care about the law. All right, New Zealand. Did you see this picture? The picture of the New Zealand bishop. The presiding bishop of New Zealand, Stephen Lowe of Auckland, wore a lei, like, the things that they wear in Hawaii that, like the flowers, the flower necklaces. This lei was made of Snickers bars. This was during a May 19th Novus Ordo Eucharist in his cathedral. The occasion was Eucharist for Liston College, a Catholic school for boys aged 12 to 18. Some of them were baptized and confirmed during the Snickers show. If nothing else, Lowe was very effective in conveying to the boys that the Novus Ordo is a bad joke. So, I'm surprised he didn't wear Snickers, Taste the Rainbow. That's what more and more bishops will be wearing soon. In a month, or in a few days, prepare. Every corporation is going to go woke. And many bishops will as well. Take a look and see. I think last year, was it Bishop Thomas Tobin? Was it last year? It may have been that or the year before. He posted that Catholics can't observe, the disordered pride stuff. And some crazy LMNOPs picked up on it, and they flooded his Twitter with angry demonic messages. He probably also made threatening phone calls to the diocese, and so he released a statement apologizing for his tweet. Sick. These perverts. And look what they're doing now. All right. Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster founded the Benedictine Sisters of Mary, Queen of the Apostles in 1995 at the age of 70, leaving the Oblate Sisters of Providence, her community of over 50 years, to do so. Known for her devotion to the traditional Latin Mass and her faithfulness to Benedictine contemplation in the Liturgy of the Hour, she died at age 95 in 2019, May 29th, 2019, on the vigil of the Solemnity of the Ascension. Isn't today May 29th? Let me look. Yes, it is. So 4 years ago today, she died. Now, just recently, this past week, on the Solemnity of the Ascension, I guess 2 weeks ago, and the Solemnity of the Ascension in the Latin Rite, the abbess and sisters decided to move her body to a final resting place inside their monastery chapel, a long-standing custom for founders and foundresses. Expecting to find bones, the Benedictine sisters instead unearthed a coffin with an apparently intact body, even though the body was not embalmed, and the wooden coffin had a crack down the middle that let in moisture and dirt for an unknown length of time during those 4 years. The current abbess of the community told EWTN's ACI group, she said, "We think she is the first African-American woman to be found incorrupt, who just so happens to like the Latin Mass, and so bishops are cautioning against it." So there you go. But if it were, I don't know, if it were one of their communist heroes, if it were a Eucharistic minister who multiplied hosts in her ciborium, then it would be all over the internet. And then bishops would be all about it, saying, "It's a miracle, a Eucharistic minister multiplied hosts." But if a traditional nun, but they can't say anything about it because of her skin color. So there you go. They're really trapped. I don't know. To me, I always hesitate for anything like this to jump to conclusions. I know a lot of people are going to be celebrating, and it is an interesting story, and hopefully it is true. Hopefully her body is incorrupt. It seems as though it's defying any kind of logic, any kind of natural progression, natural decay, whatever. So hopefully that is true. Apparently, being that she founded a Latin Mass community, she certainly would have had pious tendencies, and so I do hope she is in heaven for sure. And this will take a while to kind of sort things out, I think, but it's also going to become a tourist community. Now, I did see something about how they put wax on her face, like, I don't know, whenever she was placed into the coffin, so I don't know what that does, but you're always going to have skeptics, and I'm a skeptic with this kind of stuff. Any kind of dreams or alleged miracles, you just never know. But anyway, that's interesting, and she's a Latin Mass attendee. She was. So great. Excellent. Hopefully hopefully in 10, 20 years we can come back, follow up, and say, okay, she is incorrupt. So, all right, the USCCB will gather for the 2023 Spring Plenary Assembly in Orlando on June 14th through 16th. I believe that is a Wednesday through a Friday. General sessions will be on June 15th and 16th, and will be live streamed on the USCCB website. And you can see important video clips right here on this YouTube channel. I'm not gonna, I don't, it's one of those things where I like to see what the bishops have to say. Can't say that I necessarily enjoy watching all of it. I don't watch all of it, I skim through some of it. You can tell whenever there's going to be, there could be some statements that are particularly concerning. You can tell which bishops get up to speak, and you can. It's also eye-opening for me to see new bishops as part of the corruption network, who stands for what, and unfortunately, it's, you know, the list is growing, which is sad to say. But one thing to note, it's usually in Baltimore, but this time it's in Orlando. Now, the hotel in Baltimore was extremely expensive, I think $300 a night. And the hotels in Orlando, at least right now, are a lot cheaper than that. I mean, you can find top-of-the-notch hotel, you know, top-of-the-line. Well, for me, I mean, you know, the Hampton and the Hilton, those are, for me, that would be top of the line. I mean, I'm sure there's ones that are ranked higher than that, but who am I, you know? Like, I'm not like I'm not crazy wealthy. Like, I mean, I'm fine staying at the cheaper ones, but not Motel 6, so not about that one. But most of the other ones, yeah. I mean, I look at the ratings, if it's bad ratings or if it says anything about bed bugs, yeah. Anyway, the Hilton and the Hampton are just over $100 in Orlando. Really? I was like, really? That's surprising. Orlando's a tourist area. You know, it's got, I think it's Disney and Universal Studios, and there's a lot of tourism there, and the hotels really aren't super expensive. So maybe that's one reason they moved it. I don't know why else. I mean, in June, in the middle of June, do you really want to be in Florida? Of course, they got it, you know, air conditioning running, so that's that. But yeah, maybe they just want to kind of, maybe some of the bishops are going to go to Disney after the, like, you know, after their sessions are, you know, dismissed for the day. I won't say anything else further on that other than do the bishops, are some of them supportive of the antics of Disney? That's an inconvenient topic. But speaking more along the lines of bishops, this will be interesting. And you know, Pope Francis just released like guidelines for social media or something like that. I don't know. And this goes directly along with this news item. Kind of the topic of the video. On his radio show, Terry Barber, you know, Terry Barber's on Virgin Most Powerful Radio, and Bishop Strickland has a weekly radio show on that. Terry Barber described an occasion where Archbishop Christophe Pierre, the Vatican's U.S. Nuncio, otherwise known as the ambassador, allegedly approached Bishop Strickland at a gathering of the U.S. CCB. According to Terry Barber, Archbishop Pierre wagged his finger at Strickland while saying, "Bishop Strickland, we're watching you. Stop talking about the deposit of faith." Terry Barber said, "Bishop Strickland doesn't really care. It's the truth that sets us free. If he goes down because he's speaking the truth, oh well." A separate source who is familiar with the meeting but who chose to remain anonymous, as they have not been given permission to discuss the matter publicly, told Religion News Service the incident took place in November 21 at the annual USCCB meeting in Baltimore, Maryland. The source said the nuncio specifically confronted Strickland about his Twitter feed, which had garnered controversy at the time for, among other things, posts that opposed the 3 major jabs distributed in the United States at that time. So the Vatican's getting jab money, big time. Strickland was, he said, I have problems with this because it uses cells from slaughtered unborn. And a bunch of even like some so-called conservatives attacked him for it, including J.D. Flynn. J.D. Flynn never hesitates to attack Bishop Strickland. It's pathetic. But yeah, apparently the nuncio told him to quiet it down too. When Strickland was asked about the encounter via email this week, he said he would prefer not to comment. So basically he confirmed it. So he's on the radar of the Vatican. Now, again, he has a radio show on this. I don't know if they're affiliated with LifeSite News. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But he has his own radio show, weekly radio show. And he is known as the best bishop in the United States, or at least one of the top 5 easily. If the Vatican shuts him down, I don't know. Could see some sede contests. There would be definitely outrage, I'm sure. Unfortunately, there's not enough outrage these days. You have to be really, really angry to be outraged about all of the crazy stuff that the Vatican's doing. I mean, come on. You'd have to... I don't know how you'd sleep. Your blood pressure would just be so high that you couldn't sleep if you were outraged at every single questionable thing that came out of the Vatican. I mean, really, are we in a state of crisis? Yeah. Francis has appointed, oh, this is pathetic, Bishop Jorge Garcia Quiroga, age 55, as the new Buenos Aires Archbishop. This is Francis' former archdiocese that he hasn't visited in the entire time he's been Pope. Already in August 2012, this Bishop Garcia Quiroga, baptized the surrogate twins of the Elemento PTV celebrity Roberto Carlos Trinidad. In February 2021, Garcia accepted an Elemento P pseudo-marriage which was staged in a church of his diocese, his old diocese. His speaker stated afterwards, "We accompany all persons without exception in their legitimate desire to receive God's blessing." In March of 2020, Garcia said, "I'm a fan of Francis, perhaps the most Bergoglianist of the Argentine bishops." Well, that's why he got a promotion, because he is, what would you say? He's a darling of the Francis Church. And they get promoted. McElroy actually hasn't done any of this. He's just strongly endorsed it. This bishop has actually done stuff. So that's really bad. All right, and okay, the next thing is about Cardinal OMalley. Now, I'll talk about this after I read it. A lawsuit has been brought against Cardinal Sean OMalley, the church's leading prelate in charge of handling cases of sexual abuse of minors, detailing an accusation of failure to properly protect minors from sexual abuse at the hands of a school official. The allegation has been made as part of a lawsuit filed by 3 former students of the Arlington Catholic High School in Boston. They argue that while teenagers at the school between, they were teenagers at the school between 2011 and 2016, they were sexually abused by Stephen Biagoni, who served as vice principal and administrator to the Catholic High School from 1999 to 2016. They argue OMalley and 2 other bishops had management, supervision, employee direction, and or control over Biagoni. Furthermore, the 3 prelates knew or should have known that Stephen Biagoni used his positions within the archdiocese to sexually abuse minor children. Okay, well, it's hard to prove that. I don't know if they're going to win in court. but the problem is, the thing here is O'Malley's name is attached with cover up, and I don't know. I don't know that that's the correct direction to sue the archdiocese. Well, I guess if the school is funded by the archdiocese, then yes, they would have to sue the archdiocese. But did O'Malley really know? That's the thing. I mean, I wonder about that, especially because it's a big archdiocese, and who knows if information was forwarded to him or not. But his name is associated with it, and so that basically takes him out of the running for Pope. Not that he had a chance anyway, but this could also, if this does drag out, it could also expedite his retirement. And that is what I wanted to point out here, is that he is, I believe he's 78 years old, and so he's got less than 2 years left until he's going to be, well, he's not eligible to vote. Usually cardinals apparently are kept in their positions until age 80, or if they request to resign. O'Malley could be, retired at any point. I guess 75 still applies to bishop positions, and archbishop positions, which Cardinal OMalley holds. But I guess, yeah, the point is he could retire earlier than within the next 2 years, which, I mean, I kind of hope he holds on. He hangs in there and he's there till 80, because the chances of having a new pope at that point are greater, and maybe there will be a less Francis-y candidate there. Because the rumors are McElroy is going to go. I mean, it's about McElroy's about as far away as you can be from Boston in the United States. The farthest away in the United States, anyone else who's farther away would be in from Boston would be in Hawaii or Alaska. I mean, he's the farthest away you can be. But he's going to be shipped the whole way to the East Coast, and that's what the rumor says. Of course, it's again, we're in a state of crisis. The fact that he is allowed to even be a bishop, but that he was promoted to cardinal. I mean, he should have. Cardinal McElroy should be suspended for heresy. All right. The president of the Pontifical International Marian Academy has stated that a newly formed group inside the Academy will judge any alleged Marian apparitions which speak of the punishments from God to be absolutely false, raising questions about what advice he will give to the world's bishops. In April, the president, his name is Father Stefano Chechen, and he's an OFM, a Franciscan, stated, "It is important to provide clarity because often alleged messages generate confusion, spread anxious apocalyptic scenarios, or even accusations against the Pope and the Church." Welcome to the Church. He said, "How could Mary, Mother of the Church, undermine its integrity to sow fear and opposition, she who is Mother of Mercy and Queen of Peace? But there are warning signs. Does a mother want to punish her children by sending them illness, death? No way. So the apparitions that speak of punishments from God are absolutely false." Well, that would knock out Fatima, right? I mean, what other apparitions? Our Lady of Good Success. Was that from in Our Lady of Good Success? Was that in Ecuador in the 1600s? Quote me, correct me or give me the right answer on that. Okay, so yeah, it says Fatima on this LifeSite news article. What about other ones? Akita, of course, Akita, Japan. That was did Benedict approve that one? I know the local bishop approved it, but Benedict, at least when he was Cardinal Ratzinger, he seemed to endorse the idea. What else? What other apparitions? What? La Salette. That's one that there's, La Salette is that other French apparition. So everyone knows about Lourdes, but I don't know if people have they heard about La Salette. La Salette kind of gets buried in the shuffle because Our Lady of Lourdes was the healing water at Lourdes and everything. I think that's a big thing. But La Salette, it's in a hill country. There's like a monastery in the hill country of France, and it's I've seen photos. It's a really nice looking place, and the drive would be extremely picturesque. But anyway, just a thought. If you're looking for a place to go, that'd be really a neat place. Okay, that's all I have for you today. So until next time, this has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.